All right, we have Paul Hansen on the line. It's July the 29th, and thank you, Paul, for calling in response to me turning on the home wave system. And as I mentioned previously, Paul, there's a journalist. He's been very, very supportive of Pastor Kent Hovind, and he wants to ask you 7 questions regarding your case, and he plans on writing an article on you as well. And we praise God for these journalists who are not afraid to dig into this case and to say the truth about it. And if you're ready, Paul, I'll just go ahead and start with question number 1 of 7.
Sure.
Okay. The question is, Paul's next sentencing date is August the 21st. What were the prior sentencing dates that were postponed, if any? And I didn't know if you had any prior sentencing dates that were scheduled or if this is the first one.
Well, I could have been sentenced on March 12th, and they didn't do it. So then on April 12th, they had one, and then May, June.
Yep.
This has been forever.
Any speculation why they keep postponing the date from your perspective?
They can.
Because they can. Okay.
Because they can. Yeah.
Yeah, and it obviously keeps you in jail even longer the more they can delay it.
Yeah, because the real close to March 12th was a trial, and they found me guilty of those charges. They could have sentenced me on those charges right then that day if they wanted to, but they didn't. So what do we got here? March. So April would have been the earliest they would have maybe done it. So April, May, June, July, August. We're talking a lot of months here.
Yeah.
So we're talking 4 months. 4 months delayed. Right.
I understand. Okay, well, thank you for answering question number 1, Paul. The second question, sir, is he's asking specifically, what was Paul Hansen convicted of, found guilty of, and there was an unable to agree verdict on. And Paul, I went and looked at the indictment. I looked at the jury verdict form, and I think I have the answer specifically. And if you like, I'll read what I think it is, and then you can confirm if that's your belief as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so it says Paul Hansen, and we have counts 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. It skips count 3. That was removed, I guess. Count 1 was conspiracy to commit mail fraud as charged in count 1. And on count 1, conspiracy to commit mail fraud, they were unable to agree. So basically that was a hung jury. Count 2, which was mail fraud, you were found not guilty on count 2, just outright not guilty. Count 4, which was mail fraud, again, that was a hung jury, unable to agree. Now, you were found guilty on count 5 and
the County Sheriff's Office.
You were found guilty on count 5 and count 6. Count 5 being contempt of court, and count 6 being contempt of court. And my understanding is that's what your sentencing hearing is about, is counts 5 and 6. Now, that's my understanding of the specific charges. Is that your understanding as well?
Yeah, now count 3 never did apply to me at all, so that had no bearing.
Okay.
All that was only directed toward Kent.
Okay, very, very good. Okay, well, I'll reply back to the journalist with those specific counts and those specific verdicts. All right, the next question, sir, is number 3. Paul, could you please give a chronicle of events that's landed you in prison?
Kent Hovind needed help in 2006, and I called him, and I know that when the IRS comes after you, that everybody abandons ship because they're scared to death of the IRS. They just same with my friends. Most of them just drop off, even having anything to do with you, because people are just scared of the IRS. You don't have to do anything wrong. Kent Hovind didn't do a single thing wrong. He got 10 years in jail. It's wicked what they're doing. And what they do is they misapply law. That's what they do. They misapply law. And for example, the consul that helped me, he told me that he would charge $50,000 to do that. I mean, people go, I'm not even gonna call Mr. Hansen because I'm not gonna help Kent because I might end up spending $50,000 to $100,000. end up losing my life savings just for helping this man, because the IRS will come and they'll just start railroading you. So I was in that situation. I knew Kent was in that situation, and I don't care if I lose everything. Every man should do the right thing, no matter what.
Amen.
And but anyway, I started helping Kent at no pay, helping Kent's ministry, and because I was pretty advanced in that area of law. And then basically they put me on as trustee soon after that, in 2006, 2007, and as trustee we started defending the trust. The court said we couldn't defend. There was no trust. There was nothing to defend, and if we even tried, we'd end up going to jail. I didn't think I did anything illegal. I just notified an attorney that we were going to eventually pursue our claim in that property, and here's a document that we believe that property is worth at the very minimum. That's what I mailed to the title company. And the prosecutor convinced the jury that was contempt of court.
Now, Paul, I hate to interrupt you, but I want to just reemphasize something that you said, and you said it very quickly. You said no pay. So for the benefit of the audience that's listening, you were serving on the board of Creation Science Evangelism Ministerial Trust. You were not getting financially compensated with a salary or anything. Is that? Do I understand that correctly?
No pay at all.
Wow. So you're just volunteering to help out Pastor Kent Hovind. Wow.
They would have probably paid me some if I asked them, but I said no. I know the difficulty you guys are going through, and if I was in that situation, the entire world should step up and help for free. Wow.
So I got to just say this for the benefit of the audience. You volunteered to help out Pastor Kent Hovind's ministerial trust to protect Dinosaur Adventureland because the government had illegally seized it. You're familiar with the case. You have expertise in this area. And because you volunteered to help, and they're claiming you mailed some letter which clouded the title, which absolutely did not cloud the title. They came and stuck guns at your head in Nebraska, arrested you in Nebraska, and you've been sitting nearly 9-10 months in jail in Santa Rosa County Jail in Pensacola, Florida. And when they arrested you with the SWAT team, they did all this in front of your neighbors, which had to be pretty shocking for people that know you, that know you're not an organized crime leader or anything like that.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Why would a SWAT team show up to arrest somebody? They don't do that in Omaha for.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
You don't have a SWAT team show up for. I suppose if you rob a bank with a gun, they might have a co-armed.
It's wicked. It's
a violent crime. This is mailing a letter.
It's absolutely wicked.
Mailing a letter. I show up and they have AK-47s aimed at my head, right in front of my house, with my neighbor standing on the front porch watching.
Wow.
AK-47s aimed at my head, 6 feet away from me.
That is absolutely wicked and perverse, and the people that are coming against you, Paul, justice, what's done in the dark will be brought to the light. If you have time, sir, I'd love for you to call back because we have some more questions from this journalist.
Yeah, I'll call you right back.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
Global Tellink prepaid call from
Hansen.
an inmate at the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office. This call will be recorded and monitored. Your advance pay account balance is $44.75. For customer assistance, billing inquiries, or to block future calls, dial 1-877-650-4249. To hear the cost of this call, press 8 now. This call is subject to monitoring and recording. Do not use three-way or call waiting features during this call. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
I'm back.
Okay, no, thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. Okay. So we're going to leave question 3. I think you covered it. The chronicle of events that landed you in prison. Anything else you want to add to question number 3 before we move on to question number 4? And there's 7 questions total.
Well, part of the reason I'm in jail is they sent a summons to me to fly to fly from Nebraska 1,600 miles to Florida to get my fingerprints. Okay, now I've been arrested 15, 20 times because I always challenge the government, and they always book me, and they fingerprint me. I'm gonna, every single case I'm gonna win, every single one of them, because it's misapplied law. But anyway, in the system, they have my fingerprints 20 times. I live several blocks from the federal courthouse. Why are they going to fly me to Florida to take my fingerprints? All they have to do is say, Paul, would you walk down to the federal courthouse and get your fingerprints?
Yeah.
No problem. No problem. So I wrote them a letter by email, and I said, provide me with the written law that requires me to fly to Florida. They wouldn't do it. Then I wrote them back. I said, so you're not willing to tell me the legal duty that I have, the written duty? So they don't have any power other than that which is written. They don't have any power. The United States, all authority is in written form. If they can't find it in written form, they don't have it. I just asked them to show me the written form for their authority. They wouldn't do it. Well, if you guys don't do it, it appears to me like I can conclude you have no written authority to take me out of this jurisdiction and force me to come down to Florida. So
This call is from the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office.
So they ended up arresting me.
Wow.
In combination for the other assuming that the mailing of the letter issue.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No, thank you, Paul. It's absolutely wicked. It's absolutely wicked what these people are doing. Okay, Paul, the next question, question number 4. And I think we've talked about this before, but his question is, can you provide a link to the civil contempt liability letter Paul received and or the exact wording of the letter? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, Paul, but at some point in the future, if you like, once I get a hold of the letter, I don't have a hold of the letter, but if that does happen, maybe you can speak to that letter and we can produce it publicly, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. However you decide to answer that question, sir.
Yeah, the court sent me a letter. The judge said, send this guy a letter telling him he's not supposed to cloud the title. I read the letter, and this word on there stands out real boldly to me: civil contempt. If I'm going to do anything, I'm going to face civil contempt. I didn't even realize it has other language in it about criminal contempt. But anyway, so one of the trustees get together and they vote to file a document with the county clerk in Escambia County, which gives notice of a legal interest in a property. I did not want to participate with that. I explained to them why I didn't want to participate with that. They said, well, it's no big deal. We got a majority vote here, so it doesn't make you vote no anyway. Well, anyway, I said I'm not going to participate in any way at all. So the trustees mail a document to the county recorder's office in Escambia that tries to communicate honestly our interest, the trustees' interest in a property. It gets returned because it's $1 short for filing. They mail it to me in Nebraska instead of to the trustees back in Washington, on the West Coast. So I take that letter and I go, well, I don't want nothing to do with this. So I just mailed it right back to them in Washington. I didn't mail it to the county court. I didn't want anything to do with the statutory side of association with any claim of lien in the public side. So I took a copy of it and I mailed a copy of that to the title company. I didn't mail it to file a lien. I mailed it because we wanted a record so that when we do go to court, that the jury cannot say, well, why didn't you tell these people that you had a claim on this property? Well, we wanted to make sure that we at least did a couple things to let them know that we had a claim on the property. We wanted to be good neighbors. So basically, it's kind of like I have a dispute with the IRS. The IRS takes my land away from me. My neighbors want to buy that land. I just walk over to them. I said, we haven't really been in court on this yet. I'm still claiming an interest in that property. the neighbors go, well, thanks for telling us, because we're going to take that into consideration. So that's and then I'm facing 6 years in jail because of that Neighbor Act.
Yeah, it's a good neighbor act, exactly. And when they were interviewing Anthony Jaworski, he had basically made the statement that if he had known there was all this legal turmoil over this particular property, he would have never bought the property or moved there. And everybody's lifting him up as, this damaged figure, and I'm not doubting that he's been damaged to some degree, but you were trying to let people like Anthony Jaworski know that if he buys it, be aware, the government is the one who's trying to keep everything secret, and the government is primarily to blame that Anthony Jaworski purchased that property without the knowledge. If you guys had been allowed to do what you guys wanted to do, Anthony Jaworski would have been operating with the full information and full knowledge of what's going on. It's the government that was trying to keep everything secret because they're operating unethically.
Yes, there is a group of people that work together to steal this property from the ministry. There's no question in my mind. That's what it's organized crime is what's going on here. They have an agenda to destroy Kent's ministry because they hate his message. His message basically calls attention to the government's constructive how they constructively lie to people about the truths of the scriptures and things like that, and they hate it because he's got 50, 60 million people listening to him, and they want to destroy him as much as possible.
Right. You're absolutely right, Paul. Okay. Thank you, sir. In the interest of time, moving on to question number 5. Question number 5 says, why was Paul Hansen denied bail? Do we have the judge and or court statement denying bail? And can we provide the link to that document? I think the journalist wants to be very specific when he writes his article. So can you describe why you think you were denied bail? And do we have a particular document that we could reference to this journalist stating that you've been denied bail?
Well, the first hearing in Florida when they arrested me in Nebraska, they put me on a 2-month route to get to Florida. It took them 2 months to get me to Florida, zigzagging all over the country.
Wow.
Airplanes, buses, vans, cars, basically torture. And remember when they subpoenaed me down here, I said, well, show me the law that requires me that gives me a duty to appear down there. They wouldn't do it. So when they finally arrested me, I get in front of the judge down here, and I explained to him, I said, Judge, I called these guys, I wrote them letters, I emailed them. They would never show me the law that they were relying upon.
This call is from the Saratoga County Sheriff's Office.
They refused to give me the written law, even though I politely asked them. It would only take them 15 seconds to give it to me, and they refused to do it. So that's the reason I never yielded to that subpoena. I was waiting for them to tell me what law that required me to do it. As soon as they gave me the law, and I could have took it to an attorney and explained, is this true? Does this really apply to me and plays a duty on me? And the attorney probably would have told me yes. And I go, okay. I call him back. I said, okay, I'll be down. So when I got down here, the judge says, well, we're not going to let you out. You've already showed that you're not going to cooperate with us.
Mm.
You've already not appeared once.
Mm.
So that's the reason.
Wow. Okay. Do we have any documents? Is that with the documents that deny you bail? Is that in Pacer that we could find or locate, or do you know about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be about December 12th.
Okay. All right. I'll look in the December time frame. Thank you, Paul. All right. The next question that the journalist has, question number 6, says, when and how did Paul know Kent Hovind? I believe there is a YouTube link on this previously, but you've done so many interviews, Paul. I hate to get you to say it again, but could you just give us a brief summary on how you came to know who Kent Hovind is?
I just went to one of his seminars in Lincoln, Nebraska, which is 45 minutes from where I live, and that was about the year 2000. And then a friend of mine gave me his tapes, probably six VCR tapes, and I listened to those for about 6 months. I was so impressed with it. It's the only tapes in my entire life that I've ever listened to, probably 20 times. information. I'm one of these people that if you don't learn something every day, it's a wasted day. So I just love devouring and listen to his information on those tapes. And then I found out he was IRS came after him, and I worked with a guy that's beat the IRS 50 times. Graduated from Michigan Law School, and I figured his case was pretty simple, and I called him up, and that's when I first talked to him. Actually, I sent him a letter, and then he called me from prison, I believe, or jail.
All right. No, thank you, Paul. Very, very good. Okay, the last question.
First time I talked to him was personally was 2006.
Okay. So you've known him for quite some time. All right. Very good. Now, Paul, the last question is, how can people help you? Are there any other pertinent information regarding your case and the injustices that have been done to you that you want people to know about? Any other thing that you want this journalist to include in his article? Just where can they go and how can they help, and any other important facts from your perspective that he needs to put in his article, because he wants to make sure that it includes as much truth as possible and make people aware of what's going on with your situation, because if they can do this to you, they can do this to anybody.
Well, there should be a legal precedent out there somewhere that if somebody asks you for the legal duty that they're relying upon, and you live 1,600 miles away from them and you're busy, that they should have a duty to supply that to you. I believe there's a case law that says that. I mean, anytime a police officer walks up to you and he's not in uniform or whatever, you can ask him to verify his authority and his, asking for the law is basically asking them to verify their authority. Show me that your authority works here. So you're standing in Nebraska and some Texas guy pulls out his Texas police department badge. Well, it's clear. If he can't explain that his Texas badge operates in Nebraska, he doesn't have authority. I'm not saying he doesn't have authority. I'm just asking him to present his authority so that there's a record of it. I didn't tell Florida they didn't have authority. I just asked them to give it to me so that I can have, there's a record of it and I can study it. And if those guys are up to no good, I can put a stop to it immediately before they. Why should I travel to Florida and have the dangers of travel? So
right.
Why should I do that?
Absolutely. No, it totally makes sense to me. It's not an unfair. It seems like a completely reasonable question to me. By what authority or by what law are you requiring me to do this? And they should be able to produce it. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's a simple request.
Yeah. Any other information on how people can help you? Anything you may specifically be needing? Your thoughts as you enter your sentencing trial? Just any information you can share with the public that wants to help you and feels a burden in their heart that you've been treated unfairly and they want to help out.
Well, I want to get Scott Schneider, the IRS agent, in the witness stand during my sentence.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
And ask him the question that they would not allow me to ask in court. And the simple question is, what did he rely on in 2006 that Kent Hovind had a legal duty to withhold taxes from the church workers?
Yeah.
That's everything is based on that.
Yeah.
There is no legal duty.
That is the $100 million question. What did Scott Schneider rely upon when he arrested Kent Hovind that he supposedly was supposed to withhold taxes from those workers? Absolutely. We're running out of time, Paul.
It's time for him to do that.
Yep, we're running out of time. If you have anything to add, you can call back. If not, we'll go ahead and get this out to you too.
No, I'm done.
Okay.
Thanks.
God bless you, Paul. Thank you for your time today.
Bye.
All right.
Goodbye.
All right, that was Paul Hansen, and it rudely cuts us off, and just we have to finish up the call, and it's they charge us money every time he calls, and it's just insane. It's a raping and pillaging of the prison industrial complex, and how wicked this corrupt the system is, and specifically when I say the system is corrupt, just so Nobody thinks that I'm being vague and generalistic. I'm talking about specifically Tiffany Hope Eggers, J. Ryan Love, IRS agent Scott Snyder, IRS agent Charles Evans, and that wicked, evil, reprobate judge, Judge Margaret Casey Rodgers. All 5 of those people are wicked, evil reprobates, and I don't know how they go to sleep at night in good conscience knowing that Paul Hansen's been in jail for 9 months and he's facing multiple years with this wicked anti-Christian Jezebel judge. So, anyway, we're going to continue to try to get out information as Paul Hansen as best as we can, and I pray that you guys do the same. You guys can call him if you guys feel led. Give Paul Hansen a call in prison, or write him a letter and have him call you, and you can record conversations with him as well. And let's just get the word out as much as we can, and let's expose these evil reprobate bastards that are putting our Christian brothers in prison for no reason. And if we don't stand up for people like Paul Hansen, who's going to stand up for us when we're sitting in prison and nobody's saying anything about how they came against us unethically and unfair and in a wicked, wicked, wicked way?